Welcome back on Darkenss. Today I want to propose you a video about review about the White Dwarf issue 483 released by the Games Workshop at December 2022 and give you my Merry Christmas or every other holiday that you make a celebration about. So now we go to see a bit better about such White Dwarf. I make some discussion about what we can find inside and appreciate it, so we can begin. First thing to notice is this cover that it's related about the leaks of Wotan, because I can anticipate you, inside there is a battle report that it's about these ones, and we can see behind here what we see later a bit better, but anyway it's something related about the January one, and it would be related about the chaos for Warhammer 40k. So it's anyway not bad, even if about the color of the cover, sincerely I would have preferred something more Christmas related. Anyway, it's a yellow that can be quite interesting, but believe me, from the real it's even brighter than you can see in camera, because I had to shut down quite a lot the brightness of the video, because otherwise it would be a bit blindsighting. Really, it's something completely crazy about how bright it is. But now we can open it and see what I like and don't like inside here. Here we can find the alternative cover of the White Dwarf that you can have only thanks to the subscription to the White Dwarf itself. So eventually think if you're interested not to have all the writing that are here, so it can be quite nice. And here instead we have a sort of editorial writing about what we can find and what it's about this White Dwarf itself. And first, to see the contents of the White Dwarf, I want to show you something. There are 3 pages that are inserted here that are this one, that you can see it's double side. We have this one that we can see it's double side, and we have this one. These pages are all related about inserts that are inside. This it's related about the campaign about Warhammer Age of Sigmar, so it's not a problem and it can be useful, even if as usual I don't like. About this, it's similar to what we have seen about this part here, because we had this that it's about the Flashpoint Nephilim, so the campaign related about Warhammer 40k, related about 40k, and this peculiar about the Tomb World, so we see a bit better later. And it's quite interesting. What I don't like, also then this one being that you can find half of it, okay, it's related about the 40k. Here we are related about Age of Sigmar, but behind here there is all related about Age of Sigmar. So I don't like that if you want to cut, for example, you have these parts that are not a combination with this. So I don't understand why all these are related about Age of Sigmar. So okay, technically you can make a copy about this, a photocopy about this, and then use without any problem. Still, you have that if we want, for example, to cut, you have the other side that it's not so grit. So I don't like it. Moreover, as usual, I don't like that these are inside, because being inside, it's a problem to read and to open the White Dwarf without any other problem. So I don't like such thing. And in this way, these parts that could be quite interesting made less appealing. So I found them really quite frustrating, mainly frustrating to play and so on, because you had to take off, to cut and so on. And sincerely I prefer when this is inside the box that usually it's put when they put some inserts and so on, and then having that separated so the White Dwarf it's by itself. But it's sort of my grumbling about such, so you can eventually ignore it if you prefer. Still, I wanted to say, because it's my review and I wanted to take my opinion about. So we can flip and we can find here the contents inside. I like such images because they can be quite inspirational. Anyway, here we have what we've seen at the back and the end. Here we have what I told you about the inserts. Here we have the mailing list of the readers to the White Dwarf, and it's something that I suggest you always to watch more than read, because okay, you can appreciate also the reading, but I like because they can give you a lot of ideas. Here it's not quite particular, for example, for such models, but can be interesting. Here such a squig with the hat, the Christmas hat, can be a nice idea to apply, to try, to have something fun and having something maybe for when you play in December and January, for example, to have a sort of Christmas army. So it can be really quite interesting. These bases are not bad at all. Here you can find some painting or song that can be quite interesting. Here I like this modifying because it can be really quite intriguing, because at the end, if you watch attentively the orc, it's not done so great, the sweater and the paints, but it's amazing if you think to position such model like this here on this type of model, on type of base. It changes completely how you perceive the model, and it's something that I quite appreciate a lot. Here you have about an army related about the envies of and an armor, and sincerely, at least it seems, because the painting about the armor and so on, it's black, and so it seems. Anyway, I want to remember you that I made a video about how to paint the black armor if you're interested about. It's quite simple as a type of painting, but it can be really quite inspirational about. As you can see here, the basing is quite simple but quite worth. Here we have an article that is related about how you can choose your army. I don't find it quite interesting, but it can be a way to approach eventually, because you can see that you can select in different ways the armies itself. So it's a way maybe to understand a bit better maybe what you can appreciate in some of the armies. Then we have the part related about Age of Sigmar. Here we have about this, because there are the Sons of Behemoth that are quite interesting inside here. And here we have this, that it's related about a peculiar, we can say Stonekeeper, that it's related about the Stormcast that it's in Gur. So we can find really quite something new, because I haven't known these ones, and it can be a really good thing to understand a bit better. So it's okay, so there are the Kraken Blades, and it can be maybe a new type of army for Age of Sigmar related here against the move tribes, so it's nice to read. And there are quite a lot of background that I suggest you to watch if you're interested, because it's really useful, because there are something new things, little ones maybe, but quite useful. Here there is the part related about the campaign that we find in the previous White Dwarf, that it's the 479 and 481. So we can see that each two numbers of the White Dwarf has been brought the part related about such campaign of Rondol, sorry, and it's quite interesting. And there are the rules and so, and even if you don't like too much about playing the campaign and so, it can be inspiration about playing another type of campaign, or to have anyway some type of I can say things really interested about. Here you can find these that are what we have seen before inside. So the second one related about, so this one, so are these that you can cut, and here we have the related parts. Here have the rules of engagement, and here, sincerely, I don't like now when they put such things, because they bring such type of balancing and so on quite a lot of time in the White Dwarf. At the end, they make also the meta watch videos and so on, and this meta watch, it's related about the winner and losses, and as usual, I like to say that you don't have all the tournaments available. You pick up only the best, technically, or the bigger ones, the most famous ones, and based on them you see how the armies are. But as has been done and said also in the MetaWatch, they had to admit that there are some exceptions, because maybe there is one really great player that can win and so change a bit the performance, or in a way maybe an army that it's easier to use, but or it's someone like to use that and doesn't make a lot of result with it and so on. So I don't think that it's really such useful one, but it's a bit of my grumbling about. So okay, here you have this, that it's an article that bring you an army that it's related about the Fasiliers, but with the cold colors. And if you go to see, you can find that I published in my last videos. Also how to create and paint the flames, so you can find, for example, my ways to paint also for the cold flames, for the warm flames, and so on. So it can be also that one inspiration if you're interested about, so you can see about, because here it's quite nice to see a phrase layer that it's rated about the cold colors, and anyway it's a good thing. But here, for example, you have the Eskimo color that can be used, but you can have this type of effects with different things, so you can think this in a lot of ways. I like this type of article because it makes you understand that you can paint how you want. You don't have to paint, for example, in warm colors, because the face layers are associated with the flames, and so you think that it's only the red one. But I have also, in that video, also related about these red ones, eventually the flames, so you can really quite enjoy a lot. Here are new rules related about Warcry that okay, I don't play so I can't judge them, but there are quite a lot. So if you're interested about Warcry, here you have quite a lot of things to remember. Here are about glory points, so about underworld, and you can find that here there is an explanation of how to play and so on. Usually I don't play underworld, but I like the miniatures, so I like to buy the things related about the miniatures, but not to play with it. Then we can move on the Warhammer 40k. This is a nice image that makes the Leaks of Voltan against the Eldar. Here we have an article that is related about the heroes and the villain, but they are the main models, the I can say the generals, the characters. And I suggest you to see this one, not because what it's written, but because you can see, because there are some little modifying, little paintings, and so on. See about this, it's a really amazing model that has been modified. Little one, but quite amazing. So there are a lot of things that you can use for referral, for maybe having something that you can like. Also this painting, quite simple technically, but not so simple to realize, and anyway you can have an inspiration about, or you can, for example, take some notes. So there are quite a lot of things that I suggest you to watch about this, because based in painting, colors, I think that everything is quite interesting. For example, this it's a little about from 40k as final effect, but the model it's a model of the Sublight Graveyards, so you can find that you can really combine in different ways and gain quite a lot. See also this, there are a lot of modifying, basing and so on that can be really quite impressive. So I suggest you to give a sight to this, because they can be quite interesting. And here we have a battle report related about the, we can flip, the Leaks of Voltan against the Genestealer cults. So we can find quite a lot that can be understood. Sincerely, as usual, I suggest you to eventually watch such type of battle reports, because it can be a way to understand how it's played. Some armies know an army, because maybe you haven't played against it, or maybe you play some other system and you want to see how it can be played. And so here you have an official site of what you can find, so it can be really quite useful eventually. So it's something that I suggest you to give a try, because also the images can be quite inspirational. Think about this, so you can maybe appreciate or want to use some type of ideas to create your own scenario and so on. There are a lot of things to see, two reasons to see this type of battle reports and so on, because they can give you a lot of interesting final results, because you can appreciate it for different reasons. And so quite a lot to appreciate, in my opinion. Here we have an article related about the matter with how to paint, for example, this, that it's a model that I like quite a lot. It's Maugara. Okay, it's an Eldar, but I like quite a lot such models, the old one and the new one too. So you can find a lot of interesting things. Now you had the campaign related about Warhammer 40k, that it's the Flashpoint Nephilim. You have a lot of information about, and if you are interested about the campaign or the Necron, I suggest you to read, because they can give you quite a lot of information that otherwise you do not have, and it's really quite amazing. Also these ones related about, for example, the Black Temple and so on. So you have a lot to see. Here, what we talked before about the inserts. So here we have the tomes, the necrotomes, and so you can compose and play such game that can be also part of the campaign and so on. So you can have a lot of fun related about, and really you can prepare a lot of options and try, because it's a sort of mini game eventually that you can play with. And as you can see, you can have a sort of mini playing, a mini campaign, a way to play, for example, a sort of not Space Hulk, but almost, because in a way you are inside a Necron army, or better, a Necron World Tomb or Tomb of the Necrons. So it can be really quite useful, as usually the images are always inspirational. Here you have later about Kill Team, and you have a lot of things to notice, because I don't play it, but as usual there are a lot of contents that are from the information and so on, to also later about the rules, because after we passed all such ones that usually I watch, because there are the images that can be quite inspirational to modify and change the colors or how to make a photo. And then we have this that it's related about Warhammer Horus Heresy with new rules. So new official rules related about Horus Heresy, and they're here in the White Dwarf. So I don't play Horus Heresy, even if the models I have, and you can find in the description of my playlist related about what I have about Horus Heresy. And what I like is this, because it's how there's been painted the various Primarch of the Horus Heresy, and because they are the Primarchs that are available, or at least they should have done all the ones, if I don't remember bad. And so you can watch and see about the basing and so on, the colors that has been brought, because many of them are related about what we have seen that are the based in the self, but other are modified. So you can have a way to understand the coloring and the eventually rebase and so on. So you can have really a lot of interesting to create your own style. Think about this, think about how you can realize some things and so on, because you can play technically such models, but at the same time you can interpret it better. For example, I don't like, even if I love the Blood Angels, the Sanguinius model of the Forged. Still, here, positioned like this, in this type of basing and so on, it makes a better sight, in my opinion, so you can gain quite a lot. Also, this one has been modified compared to the original one, so you can find that there are a lot of things that can be better than thought at the beginning or so on, or the coloring can be make that in that way you can appreciate better some others that otherwise you do not like so much. Here I have an article about the Black Library, so we can find another part of a novel and so on, and it's a way, I repeat, to understand that something can be nice, because you can know an army from one author that you yet know, or you can know from one army that you yet know and an author that write about it that you didn't know, or you can find a mix of them, or improve your English or so on. So there are a lot of things that can be brought about this, and maybe you can appreciate even to have something related or to know something better. Here we have the inside the studio, so we have this that it's related about how you can plan about creating and paint and so on your army, so it can be quite a way, or you can program what you want to do in the next year. So it's a nice thing anyway, and you can also see something that it will be in the next White Dwarf, so it can be quite interesting. So we have this that it's about the Arcs of Omen, and sincerely I'm quite curious about to see the real things related about the Arcs of Omen, because for now it seems that are related about a sort of we can call them Space Hulk, but big as all the table, and sincerely I'm not interested about, because I hope that this it's not, and it will not be anyway, a new type of new edition about Warhammer 40k. Okay, there is, but I have yet Space Hulk, so I don't understand quite a lot about such game, and I'm quite curious but not so curious, so it will be really to see about. And then here we have the final, that it's here, the back. As I said, it's related to what we'll see about the next White Dwarf, that it will be January 2023, and it will be related about Chaos, so I'm quite curious to see. So, what to say about this White Dwarf? I think that it's quite interesting. There are a lot of rules that can be quite useful, Horus Heresy. There are the part about the campaign for the Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar, so there are really quite a lot of things that can be interesting. But this White Dwarf, in my opinion, it's mainly related about ideas, how to paint, how to modify. So there are a lot of visual, a lot of referrals, a lot of ideas that you can see and then analyze to understand if you want to bring something more. So really, this it's more inspirational than really useful, even if it's useful, because there are a lot of things that can be appreciated. The background, if you're interested in background, here there is quite a lot. So there are really a lot of things that make me suggest. Obviously, it's up to you to decide if it's worth or not, but it's not a bad White Dwarf. I don't like how they put the insert inside, but that one, it's a sort of my way to appreciate this type of inserts inside, because I prefer them outside. There are the inserts, but outside the White Dwarf, so that I can have more fun with the White Dwarf itself. And it's only about it. Anyway, I suggest you eventually, if you buy this White Dwarf, to try that tomb sort of mini campaign that it's inside, because the tiles are easily reproducible and useful, and you can refine by yourself or change a bit the way that you approach, for example, to some type of playing, and it's quite nice. Anyway, from Dino Mode, it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video, or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.